everyone? Welcome to the No DQ live recap of Friday Night Smackdown for April the 2nd, 2021. We are in April. WrestleMania is just a week away now. It's crazy to think that WrestleMania is so close on the calendar. This is day 3 of 17 straight nights that I'm live streaming on the No DQ YouTube channel. Thank you very much to everybody out there for tuning in. I really do appreciate it, whether it's live or on demand. And for every person that shares a link to this video, tells a friend, I am truly grateful for that. Let's go ahead and get started with this recap of SmackDown. A few eventful things on this show heading into WrestleMania. More about the build, and in particular, the build for the main event. We had a recap from the last few weeks with the Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, and Edge storyline. We had Edge come to the ring for an in-ring promo. By the way, shout out to Thomas, GTA Gamer from Jersey. Thank you for tuning in. Nick Lavin is here. Greg is here. Nick Lavin, Israel Diaz, Michael Wayne. I appreciate the regulars. I am keeping track of everybody that's tuning in and seeing who is the most loyal No DQ fan. Who will actually join me for all 17 nights live? That remains to be seen. But anyways, Edge cut a promo, talked about the beatdown last week when he took out Reigns and Bryan. Said that the chaos did not need to happen. He said Daniel Bryan weaseled his way into the match at WrestleMania. Edge said he was so focused on Reigns that he did not see an opportunist like Bryan coming. And Edge should know, because he is, after all, the ultimate opportunist. Edge said that he got played. He is mad at Bryan, but he also thanks Bryan because Bryan brought out the Edge that Edge needed to be for WrestleMania. Edge said he looked in the mirror and finally liked what he saw. The rated R superstar. Edge said that he is a man that both Reigns and Bryan aspire to be, and he will not hesitate a concerto at WrestleMania. Really good promo from Edge. I thought that this was a great promo from Edge to start off the show and set up the pay-per-view. Very well done. The one and only Caleb Jacobs with a $3.52 super chat. Thank you, Caleb. Says, Edge wins on night 1 and Daniel wins on night 2. They're not doing that. They are doing the triple threat match now. It's one title defense for Reigns. He ain't a guy that's going to defend it twice. He's doing the one and done, the main event, triple threat. We are going full steam with that. Jose Garza says, glad Edge is back as a heel. We don't need babyface welcome back Edge. We had that last year. Now we can have the real one. I still wonder if Edge is a tweener at this point. I know some people have been unsure about it. And when Edge came out, there was piped in cheers, which makes me think that Edge is meant to be a tweener at this stage of the game. But we'll talk more about that here in a few minutes. Backstage, Edge said that he will not feel bad if Jey Uso takes out Daniel Bryan in the main event street fight because he still wants Reigns one-on-one. We had the Alpha Academy in the ring for a quick promo. Chad Gable said they're peaking at the right time. They're going to complete the journey next week in a 4-way tag team match, which will be on the SmackDown episode right before WrestleMania. They're calling it a WrestleMania edition of SmackDown at the Thunderdome. You have to feel bad for these guys that are going to be on the SmackDown before WrestleMania and not actually on the WrestleMania card at Raymond James Stadium. But yeah, we had Rude and Ziggler, Rudolph, Dirty Dogs, whatever you want to call them. They were teaming up with the Alpha Academy against the Mysterios and the Street Profits, and All the teams cut these promos, hyping up the tag team title match next week. Thomas GTA Gamer sent in a $2 super chat with a thumbs up. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Caleb Jacobs with another $5 super chat. Thank you, Caleb. He says, Daniel Bryan wins at WrestleMania and Edge gets pissed and takes the title at the next pay-per-view after WrestleMania. I could see that as a possibility. I could see Bryan winning the title and then maybe we get Edge versus Bryan one-on-one and then Reigns just bides his time for a little bit and then we see Reigns versus perhaps Edge for the title. Maybe Bryan is just a short-term champion. I could see it going a lot of different ways, but we will talk about that on the No DQ predictions video for WrestleMania. Make sure you tune in. That will be Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. And then Saturday night will be the NXT TakeOver predictions at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. A few cheap plugs for those. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, I hate Ford's rope shaking. It's too over the top. Well, it's like an homage to the Ultimate Warrior. It's a tribute to the Warrior. And I really don't have an issue with it. To me, that's like the least of any problems I have with the Street Profits. If I was going to complain about anything with the Profits, it would be the whole comedy routine. The in-ring stuff, the rope shaking, doesn't bother me. TJS says, watching on demand later, just wanted to keep my perfect attendance for 17 nights. Thank you for that, TJS. I appreciate it. So anyways, let's get to the 8-man tag match. It was, standard, pretty much what you would expect from these guys. Filler, just to hype up the match next week. Not hyping up WrestleMania, so it was fine. Nothing special. Dawkins got worked over for a while after the Profits had a hot start. Ford did his dive over the top commercial. Heels work over Dawkins. Ford gets the hot tag. He went for the frog splash, but Gable avoided it. And then Gable hit a German suplex. Otis hit the bulldozer splash off the second rope to score the victory on Ford. This makes me think we're getting a title change next week. And we'll see the Profits win back their titles. Again, I just feel bad that they're on the SmackDown match. But hey, if this means no kickoff matches, then I will be happy. I just feel bad for the wrestlers that are missing out on the WrestleMania performance in front of the fans. Hopefully they're still getting the WrestleMania payday. I guess that makes up for it a little bit if they're going to get the same payday that they would have being in the kickoff match or opening match or whatever. But yeah, the match is really nothing special. It's just tag title match with the 4 teams. But yeah, I'm thinking Street Profits win next week. And they did mention the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which is also next week. And it's basically all of the guys that aren't doing much of anything. And if I had to go with a pick, I mean, really the only guy with any name value at this point is Jey Uso. I'd probably go with Jey Uso to win. Like, if Jey Uso doesn't win, I mean, that really takes him down a notch, Jey Uso, to me, has to win that so he can rebound from some of his recent losses. But we'll get to more on Jey Uso in a few minutes. Backstage, Paul Heyman met with Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville, and he noted that there's a special agreement for this match. Jey Uso is stripped of all liability if it shortens Daniel Bryan's career, so Daniel Bryan cannot sue him if Bryan gets hurt in their street fight main event. Shout out to the Cleaver Colin Andrew, who was in the house. We had a face-off segment in the ring between Seth Rollins and Cesaro. Corey Graves was the moderator. Rollins had this very interesting suit. He's been coming out with some unique suit designs. I'll give him that. Hamp Connor with a $2 super chat says, I'm here for night 3. Thank you, Hamp. And again, for anybody watching this for the first time, if you would like to follow the channel, make sure you click on that subscribe button. I'm going to be doing this Another 14 nights after this, 17 straight nights of live streaming. And thank you to everybody that tuned in for the No DQ review on Thursday night, and the views for that have been very strong. I appreciate the viewership and support, and keep it going. If you know anybody who likes WWE, likes wrestling, have them check out this channel and check out NoDQ.com for the latest wrestling news and rumors. And there's a comment section at the bottom of every No DQ post. Make sure you contribute to the comment section. Leave your thoughts on a news post. Any thoughts you have, drop your comments, maybe respond to somebody. It's at the bottom of every No DQ post. We have a comment section. I sometimes reply, so come join in on the discussion. All right, so Rollins and Cesaro, they talked about how it's Cesaro's first singles match at WrestleMania, and Cesaro said it's the biggest match of his career. He cannot fail. He needs to win this, and he has his new catchphrase, swing is in the air. Graves responded by asking Rollins about the swings, and Rollins got very upset and defensive, said that he is unshakable at WrestleMania, and he brought up his WrestleMania moments and said Cesaro responded to Rollins by saying he knows he can beat Rollins, he can embarrass him again. Rollins said that Cesaro will not have his potential to fall back on after losing at WrestleMania. Rollins then wanted to fight. Cesaro said, take a swing. And Rollins thought about it, but then took his leave and backed away. Good segment here. I liked it. Good build-up for WrestleMania. Thumbs up. The one and only Caleb Jacobs with another $5 super chat. Thank you, Caleb. I appreciate it. He says, I really wanted to see Bobby Roode as the Intercontinental Champion. He has never been IC Champion. I am here for night 3 confirmed. And again, much appreciated, Caleb. And I thank you for your long-time viewership and support. Again, it was a pleasure to meet up with you back in Oregon a couple of years ago. And yeah, I just feel bad for Bobby Roode. He's one half of the tag team champions, but nobody cares about the tag titles at this point. And he doesn't have his music. Like, I just don't care much about Roode at this point. I feel like he should have been in a different direction than being Dolph Ziggler's tag team partner. And Psycho Jet Black with the $2 super chat says, when will we get Seth versus Edge or Seth versus Reigns? Great question there. As I said several months ago, I thought Rollins was going to come back as a babyface and maybe challenge Reigns. I suppose it could still happen later this year. I mean, I think it's inevitable as long as Reigns is a heel. At some point, you got to do Reigns versus Rollins with Rollins as a babyface. Maybe this program with Cesaro is just something to keep Rollins busy until WWE is ready to do a Rollins versus Reigns feud. And as Colin Andrews says in the chat, I agree with him. He says Cesaro needs the win at WrestleMania. I agree. I think Rollins can take the loss. I think Rollins can turn babyface and get right back up there. I mean, if Daniel Bryan can do a bunch of jobs and then go to WrestleMania, I think Rollins can take a loss here and give Cesaro that win. Because where do you go with Cesaro if he loses at WrestleMania? But again, we'll talk about it coming up Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, 1 week exactly before WrestleMania. We are going to do our predictions. We got about 14 confirmed matches for Mania. It's going to be a long video, but I hope you guys tune in live and give us your predictions in the chat room. I'll post some of them on the video. Stay tuned for that. Let's get back to the SmackDown recap. Got to do my cheap plugs here every 5 minutes or so. Nia Jax was walking backstage, her, Shayna Baszler, Reginald. They walked right past Carmella. Poor Carmella. But she had a match on this show, which we'll get to in a few minutes. And this was probably the low point of the show. So we had Shayna Baszler versus Natalya, which went about a minute, maybe not even a minute. Natalya rolled up Shayna. Shayna countered the roll up, and then Natalya recountered it and beat Shayna. So Shayna takes another loss. What? What is going on here? Is Nia Jax not capable of taking a loss? And why even book these matches in the first place? Like, stupid. To quote Randy Orton when he was RKO and Kofi Kingston, stupid. Last year, Shayna Baszler won Elimination Chamber, dominated everybody, and now she's losing in 30, 45-second matches. What the hell? Shanti with a $2 super chat says, Shanti checking in for night 3. Thank you for tuning in. Night 3 of 17 straight nights of live streaming. Cleaver Colin Andrews says, Big G will not be happy with Shayna losing. Absolutely not. And another 30-second Divas match, according to Dr. NXT Scorpio. Yeah, this sucked. This was the worst thing of the show. And then you got everybody running in. Nia Jax comes in. Then you got Tamina getting involved. Riot Squad ran down. Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke ran down. Lana and Naomi ran down. And then Natalya and Tamina hit the heart attack, the old finisher of Bret Hart and Jim Neidhart. And they were the last team standing. And yeah, like the SmackDown Tag Team titles, I don't care about this. This match is designed to get everybody on the card at WrestleMania. The report is that they're gonna do a four-way tag match on night 1, and then the winners of night 1's match will go on to face Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler on night 2. I really don't care which team advances. I just don't care about the WWE Women's Tag Team titles at this point. We really need some new blood in here. And, you know, they're doing the 50-50 booking with the women's division. And poor Shayna Baszler, like, what are they doing with her? Like, I just don't care about anything that's going on with the Raw Tag Team division and the SmackDown Tag Team division. And Bayley, as several people in the chat are pointing out, like, where's Bayley? She had such a great 2020, and she's looking like she's not going to be on the WrestleMania card unless we get like a Charlotte versus Bayley match added at the last minute. By the way, NoDQ.com official mugs. It even has some Team No DQ information on here. This is available over at NoDQ.com/merch. 25% off if you use the code MANIA. Head over to NoDQ.com/merch. All merchandise, 25% off. Great way to support the website. You can get a NoDQ.com mask, face mask. We still have a pandemic. You can get a mug, t-shirts, lots of different shirts for the various NoDQ personalities. So head over again, NoDQ.com/merch. 25% off using the code MANIA. We had Backstage, Carmella taking Billie Kay's photo, so maybe we're going to see Carmella actually accept Billie Kay, and maybe they'll be added to that tag team match. We'll have like 5 teams or something. Who knows? We had Logan Paul arrive in a limousine, everybody's favorite YouTube personality other than myself. We had Sami Zayn do his red carpet premiere to show the trailer for his documentary, how he's been screwed by WWE. He introduced Paul. Paul was very excited to be there, and we got the canned pop, the piped in cheers for that. I feel like this would have just been booed, or people would have been indifferent to this if we had a live crowd. Paul said he was excited to see the evidence of the conspiracy, so Sami Zayn showed it, but before he showed the trailer, he invited Paul to WrestleMania. Paul accepted, whatever, and Zayn did the drum roll, and we had the trailer, rated T, and T for truth, by the way, not R-Truth, and it was a pretty funny video. Zayn had a moment where he was asked about being a flat earther, which I felt like it had to be a shot at AJ Styles. It was amusing. I mean, this was one of the few moments where the comedy worked on a WWE program. Sami Zayn is great. Like, Sami, other than the sisters angle with Lashley, Zayn can make this stuff funny. And after it was over, Paul said that he ran into Owens backstage, and Owens said that there's no conspiracy. Zayn is delusional. Zayn started getting fired up and upset, but then regained his composure and apologized to Paul. And then all of a sudden, Zayn was attacked by Owens. Owens hit the stunner. Owens said he will beat some sense into Zayn at WrestleMania. Segment was all right. I mean, I don't see the point in Paul being there other than WWE just trying to get a little bit of publicity and have a celebrity at WrestleMania, whatever. But yeah, I am looking forward to Zayn versus Owens, although I suspect it's gonna be pretty much a comedy match with Paul out there, and Zayn is a comedy character at this stage of the game. Like if Zayn had some momentum, like this would be a hell of a match, and it'll be entertaining, and it's cool that they're getting their WrestleMania match. But I just wish, Zayn had a little bit more going for him other than being the comic relief character. And backstage, Owens was cutting a promo, and Zayn jumped him, and even the attack from behind, like Zayn still wasn't feeling super confident. He kind of like yelled a little bit and started to back off again. We had Carmella versus Bianca Belair, and before the match, Bianca cut a promo, said that the real boss, Sasha Banks, finally showed up, and that's what Bianca wants. She wants Sasha Banks at her A game, so there will be no excuses at WrestleMania. Pretty standard promo here. It was fine. Caleb Jacobs sent in a $6 super chat. Thank you, Caleb. I appreciate it. Or $5.59. He says, I missed the original Sami Zayn from NXT in 2016. Besides his 2 IC title reigns, I did not like this one. I say bring in El Generico. I want to see El Generico on a WWE program. Why not? Just for fun. We should get El Generico showing up, some kind of shenanigans, just for fun. Do the alter ego thing. Why not? They might as well take advantage of it. People would pop for it, and he could use it in some heel fashion to gain the upper hand on somebody. But anyways, we had Carmella versus Bianca Belair. Carmella, the veteran, attacked Bianca before the match even got started. And Carmella threw Bianca into the steel steps. And then after the match, after the commercial, I should say, Bianca made her comeback, hit the KOD. And then Sasha Banks appeared in the ring. There was a face-off between the two of them. No attacks or anything, just the two of them having a face-off. And this was fine. Better than some of the previous weeks. They kept it simple. That is sometimes better than trying to overthink it and doing comedy and doing too many things. Having them cut a long back and forth promo. This was fine. And we had a recap of what happened on Raw with King Corbin attacking Drew McIntyre. And it was announced that it will be McIntyre versus Corbin. Smell the ratings, as Mr. Tito would say. Corbin cut a promo backstage, said he's tired of the disrespect. He decided to take advantage of the offer made by Bobby Lashley. Corbin said it's his time. He carried Drew McIntyre for over a year, and he will beat McIntyre, take the WrestleMania spot, and face Lashley at WrestleMania. Yeah, don't think that's happening. I would not be tuning in for this match unless it was my job, because I think even Stevie Wonder can see where this is going. Corbin ain't going to WrestleMania unless it's catering or some kind of backstage thing. Corbin's not going to beat Drew McIntyre on the go-home show. Ain't going to happen. And I'm willing to say that with a lot of confidence. We had Apollo Crews cut a promo to hype up his match with Big E. And he challenged Big E to a Nigerian drum fight. Not a street fight, a drum fight. Apparently it's the same thing as a street fight, no rules. But since we had a street fight on this SmackDown, you can't have 2 within a 1 week period. So they got to do a Nigerian drum fight. And I thought a Russian chain match was the silliest stipulation of all time, or the silliest name for a stipulation match. Or what was that match that Hulk Hogan had with Ric Flair? The Yappa Pie Indian strap match. That was the goofiest name for a stipulation match of all time. This might take the cake, though. A Nigerian drum fight. All right, then. I think my interest for this match has probably gone down another notch with this name. I don't think we're going to see Apollo win, but again, we'll save that for the predictions video and see what the rest of the panel thinks. We had Paul Heyman meeting up with Edge backstage, and Heyman was buttering up to Edge, saying he agrees it should have been a singles match, and mathematically Reigns now only has a 33% chance of winning at WrestleMania, and likewise Edge only has a 33% chance of winning. Heyman should know better, because Roman Reigns, he's not normal. He is the tribal chief, and doesn't matter how many people are in the match, Roman Reigns always has 133% chance of winning, and he doesn't even have to try. Heyman should have made some kind of Scott Steiner reference here, but it is what it is. He was trying to butter up to Edge, and Edge was, again, acting like a tweener, saying, you know what? You do what you're going to do. I'm going out to do commentary. He basically brushed off Heyman, which is, not a heel thing to do. So maybe he is a tweener at this stage of the game. We had the main event match. Main event Jey Uso versus Daniel Bryan in a street fight with Edge on commentary. Bryan went right after Jey. Jey took a chair, and Bryan was going to do the running dive to the outside, and Jey hit Bryan in the face with the chair. So I guess kind of a steel chair shot to the head. Well, kind of, sort of. Jey used the chair. Bryan got the chair, used it on Jey. They fought on the outside for a while. Bryan was using the chair on Jey right next to Edge, who was sitting there on commentary. And then back in the ring, Jey introduced a steel chain, but then Bryan got the upper hand with the chain. You know how this always goes. The guy who introduces the weapon ends up paying for it. And sure enough, Jey got choked out with the chain. Bryan was using the chain to do his elbow strikes, and then Bryan put on the yes lock, and Jey tapped out. Poor main event Jey, losing a lot, and like I said, Andre the Giant Battle Royal, good way for him to rebound and win. Like, Jey has to win it, but I feel like I'm always wrong with the Battle Royal predictions. I never get it right. I'd go with Jey, but I think anybody could win this. Like, Ali could win this. Ricochet could win this. Like, doesn't even matter. But yeah, if I was booking, Jey's the clear winner. You got to rebound him a little bit. And Brandon points out, when Jimmy returns, I suppose they could rebound. The Usos could be reformed, and, they can be strong as a tag team. So I suppose that could help. Psycho Jet Black with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. One of the most loyal No DQ viewers, along with Caleb Jacobs and Dr. NXT Scorpio, Jose. A lot of the regulars in here, which I very much appreciate. Psycho Jet Black says, why did the botch ending at Fastlane make you give up on Apollo Crews? His gimmick is ridiculous, but he's a great wrestler and better promo than Ricochet. Yeah, pretty good wrestler. And promos, they were fine until, they were never great, but when he first turned heel, I liked it. And then he started going over the top with the accent, and the gimmick has gone south for me, and I really find it hard to care now. I think WWE is going to give up on him. But again, I'll save my prediction for Sunday. So anyways, after the match was over, Bryan went to the outside and attacked Edge with the running knee, kept throwing Edge into the ring post. And then Bryan ran towards Roman Reigns, who came out midway through the match, was sitting on the stage in his comfy chair. Bryan ran down towards Reigns. Reigns threw the chair towards Bryan. Bryan dodged it, hit the running knee to Reigns, and then put on the yes lock on Reigns. Officials had to come down and get Bryan off of Reigns. Nice way to end the show, making Bryan look really strong, taking out both guys. And we still have one more show, one more confrontation, and we'll see who gets the last laugh heading into WrestleMania. And by the way, cheap plug for Colin Andrew. He already has his takeover predictions. Check that out on his channel. You can go to nodq.com/Colin or just search the Cleaver Colin Andrew on YouTube to find his channel. Show overall was fine. I thought the best part of the build-up for WrestleMania was the main event, which, you know, the main event is the biggest, most important match. So that was solid, and a few other solid things on the show. But there were a few things I did not care for too much. The Apollo promo, I wasn't a fan of. The Corbin stuff, you know, just building up Raw, whatever. And the SmackDown tag team titles, the women's tag team titles, I'm gonna give the show a B-. I did think it was an all right show. Colin Andrew really enjoyed the ending and the show. He gives it a solid A. So yeah, Colin Andrew really liked it. Some mixed, a lot of B's I'm seeing in the chat room. Michael Wayne and Israel Diaz and Tic Tat Tat all give it a solid B. MVP Kev with a B-. Wade, Kingston, and Matt Helms also give it a B-, as does Mike B. Caleb Jacobs with a solid B, as Mike B also gives it a solid B. Calvin Bowman and Ace and his familiar vlogs also give it a B+. Overall, a lot of B's. Few A's. I've seen positive responses for SmackDown overall. The game is on 100 with a $2 super chat. Says Reigns is going on top next week. I guarantee it. Do you mean WrestleMania or do you mean the go-home show? Reigns gets the last laugh on the go-home show. Yeah, that makes sense because Edge got the upper hand last week. Bryan got the upper hand this week. Reigns gets the upper hand on the go-home, and that doesn't necessarily mean anything. It used to back in the day, but I think WWE finally realized that people were getting that booking pattern and they changed it up. But yeah, I mean, years ago, you could predict the winner of the pay-per-view based off of who got the last upper hand on the go-home show. And then they changed it after a while. Calvin Bowman says, where was Bayley? No information about her. Creative has nothing for her. Again, I would love to see Charlotte versus Bayley. I know there's like no build-up for it, but, you know, Bayley could show up on Raw or whatever and say, hey, I want a match at WrestleMania. This is BS. I challenge anybody from Raw or SmackDown. Charlotte comes out, says, you know what? I've been cleared. Too late for me to be in the title match, but let's do it. Raw versus SmackDown. Two of the women that put the women's revolution on the map. I mean, I think it's an easy setup for WrestleMania, and that would be a nice match, a nice addition to the card. I hope they do it, because Bayley should definitely be on the card. Not going to speculate on anything else for people saying, well, could it be this? Could it be that? I'm hoping it's just they don't have anything creatively for her. And Hamp Connor with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Hamp. I appreciate it. Says, just curious, why did WWE pay-per-views end on DirecTV in 2001 for a few months? I do not remember that, but I know every now and then there's issues with the provider and WWE, and there might have been some kind of financial dispute. And my guess, I don't know this for a fact because I don't remember, but I recall other similar scenarios where there would just be a financial dispute, and sometimes things happen and WWE has to keep moving forward, and there might be an issue with the pay-per-view provider. But yeah, I don't remember the specific reason for it. So anyways, guys, that's all I got for SmackDown this week, night 3. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Coming up, NXT predictions, WWE Wrestlemania predictions, and then we got another week, Raw, Hall of Fame. We got night 1 of TakeOver, night 2 of TakeOver. We got the final SmackDown. We got WrestleMania Saturday, WrestleMania Sunday. Then we got Raw. Then we got the premiere of NXT on USA Tuesday nights. Then Wednesday night, we got Dynamite. Then we got the No DQ review. Then we got SmackDown. And then I'll finally have a break. That's the lineup coming up. Thank you guys for tuning in. Take care, everybody. And I will see you all next time.